I love to talk about CASA because I've been involved with it for a while, but it is such a unique way of empowering a community to help itself and invest in a healthy future, because most children, even if they are being maltreated in Talbot County or Dorchester County or Queen Anne or Kent, where we're serving children, most of them are going to stay in that county when they grow up. So the more we can invest in them now and help them really have their needs served and help them to grow to be really good, functioning, healthy, integrated people, then it's a no-brainer. It started in Talbot County because one of the judges heard about it and said this would be great. And so a very small group of people got together and did some of the legwork, and then I was hired in April of 1990, which is, I've been there since April of 1990, but that's when we were kind of officially recognized as a viable entity serving children as court-appointed special advocates. Last year we served almost 90 children. We served 86 children, which is a pretty big number when you think about these are the children who have risen to the threshold where they need court protection because of the level of maltreatment. So there are plenty of other children that social services in each local area is serving on a daily basis who are at risk, but the children have not reached that threshold. Yes, so there are volunteers who are serving as officers of the court after they've been screened and trained and all kinds of things. It empowers them to access an amazing amount of information about a given child. So if you are a CASA volunteer and if you're appointed to John Smith's case, then you are empowered as an officer of the court to learn everything you can about little John Smith, talk to his parents, teachers, pediatrician, whoever is involved with him, certainly get to know the child and spend time with him so that you are able to objectively and accurately represent what he needs. And so then your CASA volunteers are advocating almost on a daily basis with agency partners. You know, John Smith needs glasses. Can we get him an eye appointment? John Smith, you know, whatever John needs, we are advocating pretty much daily for services to kind of facilitate those needs. And then we're also giving reports to the court as to a more formal advocacy in terms of what would be good for the court to order, in our opinion, to achieve permanency as safely as possible and quickly. Yeah, these are not happy situations, but what is so exciting about CASA's involvement is that, well, first of all, our CASA volunteers are just amazing people. They really are. But they really do, and I actually have a quote from a child that says, if you give a child a CASA, you give them hope. And if you give them hope, you give them a future. And if you give them a future, you give them the world. And so there's that hope component that is so, it's kind of like a core value of our organization, that even though these children have been through some pretty rotten situations, that doesn't mean that things can't get better. And it doesn't mean that with maybe the village working together, that we can't help promote this child into a place where he or she is doing a heck of a lot better and has everything that she needs or he needs, including somebody who cares about them. I mean, the goal for all of these children is for the case to close in such a way that the child has permanency, and we know that he or she is in a loving, safe, kind of forever place. And so there are lots of happy endings. I mean, some of them are bittersweet. Some of them, the children may not be able to be reunified with their parents, and so there may have to be an actual termination of parental rights, but then the children can be adopted. So we see children going home. We see children going to live with family members, which is also a great, you know, connection. We see children living with kind of kinship folks, and we see children being adopted. So. Yeah, it's kind of everything you can imagine. The biggest skill that we ask for with volunteers is not a knowledge of the law. It's the ability to communicate, and not just by talking, but also by listening. And so if people have a true interest in this really makes a difference. I mean, it really does. So if they have a true interest in making a difference, kind of one child at a time, and they are willing to invest the time in kind of the pre-stuff, the screening and the training, and then they get to know these children. They are amazing, and they're strong people. I mean, they are willing to say hello. This hasn't happened yet, but lots of these children aren't used to having their own voice, and so CASA volunteers. And there have been lots of logos over the years, but Speak Up for a Child was one, Stand Up for a Child was one, but they are doing that. They are giving voice to the child's needs. Our pre-service training class will start in October. We only do it once a year because it's pretty labor intensive from a staff perspective because we've got a small staff. It's about 37 hours of pre-service training. It is 5 4-hour in-person classes that we do in the evening. So if somebody works during the day, they can still do this. And each of those 5 in-person classes is preceded by an online independent study curriculum. So it's a neat training. It's fun. I mean, you got to commit to 37 hours, but it's most of the time when we end our training, the last night, people are saying, "Oh shucks, what are we going to do on the next Thursday night?" You know, so I think they enjoy it. So. In 1990, we started here in Talbot County, which is where you and I are sitting right now. And then in late 2009, at the really strong request of the Circuit Court in Dorchester County, we were able to expand and become a 2-county program. And then last year, in July of 14, the request was made, and we did some due diligence, and we ended up expanding to also include Queen Anne and Kent counties. So we are now a regional organization. Yeah, the level of dysfunction, I'm sad to tell you, that we are seeing is significantly higher than even 10 years ago. And I think that the social workers who are on the front line doing these investigations would corroborate that. Mental health issues, drug addiction issues, and or substance abuse, I should say. Mental health, substance abuse, are the 2 biggest contributors. People think that it's poverty, and it's not. Poor people do not abuse their children, but there are times when those 3 things collide, mental health, substance abuse, and poverty, and then that's a triple whammy for the child. Actually, to run a strong program, it is not cheap, because and my board of directors, bless them, has always been really attuned to trying to have salaries be competitive, so that we're keeping staff. We have staff who've, I mean, well, in addition to me, we've got staff who've been there for a long time, but they're good and they're vibrant, and so we pay for it we get some grants from the feds and from the state. In Talbot County, I should say, we are proud to be a member of the United Fund. We get some money from local foundations. We get some money from the Midshore Community Foundation, which has been a wonderful partnership. We have to raise, I'd say, easily 1/3 of our budget, if not more, through local donations. So we are always asking for help, and we have a couple of special events that are money makers. So we're never sitting still.